Unit 2 Isolated Footings. These we are going to deal in today's lecture. Okay. So this topic is very simple. Just simple design steps are there how to design the footing. First thing, the basic thing is what is footing. So everybody now knows that what is the footing. Okay, footing transfers the load of all the superstructure to the soil. Okay, to transfer the load of a superstructure to the soil uniformly, we construct the footing. Also, footing takes care for the uneven settlement. To avoid the uneven settlement of the superstructure below the ground level, to avoid it, so we provide the footing in those cases. Okay, so footing basically footing carries heavy load because load transfer from slab the load is transferred to beam, from beam it is transferred to column, and from column it is transferred to footing, and from footing it is transferred to the soil. Okay, so now if I draw the diagram over here, suppose now this is a column. Suppose now this is a column, and this is the footing which I am drawing right now. This is isolated footing I am showing over here. Let us assume that this is the isolated rectangular footing. Okay. I will join this line. So we will give name to this. This is column. This is column, and this is nothing but your footing. This is section. Okay, that is in elevation. It look like this. If you see it in the plan, if I draw the plan of this, okay, if I draw the plan, then it will be, so this is the footing which we will see in this way, and the column, whatever may be the column, square column, rectangular column, it doesn't matter, but in plan it will look like in this way. This is your column. Okay, so if you see this column, this is the sectional elevation column, and this is the column. Whatever may be the dimensions, 300 by 300, 230 by 500, 230 by 350, whatever may be the dimensions of the column, those dimensions will be here. This is the width of the column, and this is the depth of the column, and this dimension is the length of the column. Okay, similarly this is the footing, this dimension is the depth of the footing. Okay, and here you will see length and width. This is the length of the footing, this dimension, and this is the depth of the sorry, length, width, and depth. Okay, so this is plan. Whatever I have shown at the bottom is the plan, and at top this is the what we can say sectional elevation. Now some theoretical points are there regarding the footing introduction. You copy down those points. I will write here, and you copy it. So footings shall be designed designed to sustain designed to sustain the applied loads. Okay. So this footing should be able to sustain for the applied loads, moments, applied load moments, and and forces and forces to to ensure that to ensure that any settlement any settlement which may occur may occur shall be shall be nearly uniform, shall be nearly uniform as possible, nearly uniform as possible. Okay. The footing, the footing does, the footing does the job of spreading the load, spreading the load over wider area, over wider area. Footings, footings are also subjected, footings are also subjected to bending moment and shear force, and shear force. Okay, so we will read it once again. Now see, footings shall be designed to sustain the applied loads, moments and forces. Okay, so footings are designed in such a way that they should withstand, or they should bear the applied loads, moments and forces to ensure that any settlement which may occur, okay, to ensure the settlement which may occur in the structure, that is nearly uniform as possible. Okay, so as per what we can say, its possible limit, the footing tries to keep the settlement as uniform. Okay, if there is an uneven settlement, then there the chances of what we can say failure of the structural members become higher. Okay, so footing tries to maintain the settlement uniform as long as it's possible for footing. Okay, then the footing does the job of spreading the load over a wider area. Okay, so as you know that now this is the dimension of the footing. If you see this rectangle, and this is the dimension of the column. Okay, now suppose the load of 2000 kilonewton is coming on the column. Now see, the area of the column is very less, but once that column is connected to the footing, you can see that area is much more wider. The area is much more wider, so whatever load from the column, suppose I have taken one figure 2000 kilonewton load which is coming from the column, it is spread over the larger area. Okay, that load, it is not concentrated in the small area. Due to the footing, it is spread over the larger area and then it is transferred to the soil. Okay, so the footing does the job of spreading the load over the wider area. The footings are also subjected to bending moment and shear force. So in doing this work, in doing this job, footings are also get subjected to bending moment and shear force. Ultimately, footing is also made up of concrete, and the steel bars are also there in the footing. So there is some self weight of the footing is there, also some dead load is there. Okay, so accordingly, due to which the footing is also subjected to shear force and bending moment. Yeah. So now in this unit we are going to study the design of isolated footings. Okay, so the footings are the main thing which I want to tell you here. The footings are failed. Okay, failure of footings, failure of footings. Okay. Why there is a failure of the footing? When the footing fails, first, footing fails in two-way shear. I will explain you this, what is two-way shear. This is also called as punching shear. Okay. Punching shear. If this shear is increases, then footing will fail. Second thing, footing is failed due to one-way shear. Footing is failed due to one-way shear. Okay. Now we will see what is punching shear. Yes. What is the punching shear? Now I will draw here one diagram so that you will understand it better. Suppose now this is my column. Okay, this is the column. This dimension is B is the cross-sectional dimension and D is the depth. Okay, suppose this dimension is B. Okay, this dimension is B and this dimension is D. So this is the column. Okay. Now suppose we have provided some footing to the column and I will draw the footing over here. So this is the footing. This is the footing. Now what happens? See, now pay attention over here. This is the important part. Okay, let us see. This is capital B is the okay. So now you just understood the concept first. Then I will tell you. Otherwise, you will get confused where to take B and where to take D and L. All those things. So now first, just focus here. This is the column. The width of the column is B. The depth of the column is D. B by D is the cross section of the column. And now this is the footing. Okay, some cross section is having for this footing. Let us we will not go into the depth right now. So what is happened? What is the meaning of punching shear? So now what is happening on this footing? This column is rest. Okay, so what this column tries? This column tries to penetrate through this footing. Okay, this column tries to penetrate this footing. म्हणजे काय हा column वरती heavy load असणार आहे. So what will column do? Column try to penetrate this footing. It will try to pass through that footing. Okay. म्हणजे penetration जर झालं, column जर समजा if column is penetrate in the footing, then cracks will develop. Definitely in this way the cracks will develop. Okay, and this footing will get fail. This is the simple logic. But what happens? But actually what happens when this column tries to penetrate through the footing? This is called as punch. If you see the punching machine, you know very well the punching machine. When you punch a piece of a paper, when you punch a paper, what will happen? Uh, After punching now, it creates a hole in the paper, right? And you got some small circular page of that paper. Page, we cannot say page, a circular small what we can say part of that paper you will get after the punching. पंच केल्यावर तुम्हाला काय मिळतं? ते जे राहिलेला कागदाचा जो तिथं गोल असणार आहे तो गोल काय होतो? हॉलो होतो आणि तो जो तुकडा असणार आहे कागदाचा जे तुम्ही पंच केलाय तो तुम्हाला सेपरेट मिळतो. तो तुकडा बरोबर आहे का? तो बाजूला खाली पडलेला असतो, आपण लक्ष देत नाही त्याच्याकडे, आपण आपला फाईल पेज लगे फाईलला लावून टाकतो. Okay, so same action is going to takes place over here. This column is there which tries to penetrate through this footing. Okay, पण हे आता पेनिट्रेट होताना नुसते कॉलमचे जेवढे डायमेन्शन आहेत तेवढंच हे पेनिट्रेट होत नाही. तर व्हॉट डज इट्स कॉलम डू? From a distance, at a distance of, see, from this end at a distance of d by 2. Okay, I will mark over here d by 2. So first I will draw that, then I will mark the distance. Okay, see now what is happening from, so from column at a distance of d by 2, where d is the depth. Okay, d by 2 to this side and at a distance of d by 2 to this side. Okay, this whole area, कॉलम पंच होताना फक्त हा कॉलमचाच एरिया पंच होत नाही, तर कॉलम काय करतो? ऍट अ डिस्टन्स ऑफ डी बाय 2 ऑन टॉप साइड ऍट अ डिस्टन्स ऑफ डी बाय 2 on left side at distance of d by 2, on right side at a distance of d by 2 bottom. हा जो काही एवढा डिस्टन्स मिळून जो काही चौकोन तयार होतोय, जो काही शेप तयार होतोय, तर हा पूर्ण जो शेप आहे, हा पूर्ण शेप फुटिंग मधनं पंच होऊन जातो. ओके, म्हणजे हा दिस whole area which I have drawn in red, it will tries to punch through the footing. Okay, and if this area punch, then what area will remain? राहील कुठला एरिया फक्त तुमच्याकडे? हा एरिया राहील. जर हा पंच झाला तर एवढाच एरिया तुमच्याकडे राहणार. दिस इज द रिमेनिंग एरिया. इफ द फुटिंग फेल्स, then this area will remain. If the footing fails due to punching action, then only this area will remain. Okay, up to this red, all it will get punched. Okay, so this the section which is at a distance of d by 2, this is called as critical section for two-way shear. Okay, so critical section for two-way shear is at a distance of d by 2. Okay, so the it is at a distance of d by 10. So I hope now you understood what is the punching shear. Now see, I will repeat it once again. Please pay attention over here. So this brown line, this is nothing but our footing, this brown rectangle. This green rectangle is nothing but our column. Then what is the meaning of punching shear or two-way shear? This column will tries to penetrate through this footing. Okay, but while doing this penetration action, column will not alone penetrate through this footing. What the column will do? It will create some critical sections, and those critical sections are at a distance of d by 2 from the face of the column. So from the face of the column, if you go on upper side d by 2 distance, from the left side d by 2 distance, from right side d by 2 distance, and from bottom d by 2 distance. So the new boundary you will get. Okay, the new boundary you will get. So this column will tries to punch through the footing along with this total area, whatever I am showing over here. Okay, and due to which, if this column is get succeed in punching in the penetrating through the footing, then your footing will get filled. Okay, so while designing the footing, first we will consider two-way shear action, and we will adopt such a depth that it will sustain this punching shear. Okay, now this is the concept of punching shear. Okay, I hope now it is clear to you. Then one more thing, see, if I tell you what is the dimension of this, the dimension किती असणार? What is this dimension? Then see now, this is B. Okay, this side it is d by 2, this side it is also d by 2. Okay, at bottom it is also d by 2 because the critical section is at a distance of d by 2 for two-way shear. So this will become this your B plus D. D by 2 plus D by 2 is D. Okay, or whatever may be the dimension, and this is D plus D. So these are the dimensions. Now we will. So this short introduction is sufficient to you for punching shear. While actually solving the problem, I will tell you how to consider the punching shear and how to design for this two-way shear or punching shear. Okay. Now the second is one-way shear. Now what is the one-way shear? Again we will come with the same diagram for the one-way shear also. Okay. So I will draw the diagram once again. So we will draw the diagram once again. Okay. While solving the problem, we will take the notation. Hmm? So now Suppose this is the column. Okay. And again this is now footing. This is the footing. Now what will happen in the case of one way shear? Okay, in the case of one way shear, what happens on either side? Okay, on either side the footing will fail due to one way shear action. Means what happens, I will tell you. So suppose now, due to this shear force, the footing will break from here. Okay, and this is the line of critical section, and this is at a distance of d from the face of the column. D from the face of the column. Okay, to this side. Similarly, it can also happen. Similarly, it can also happen to the upper side also. So if you draw the same thing here, and this is also your critical section at a distance d. Okay, at a distance d. So this is the area due to which it gets filled. This area will get removed from the footing on the either end, either at this end or at the top end. So this area, and suddenly footing will get failed. There is a failure of the footing. Okay. So due to this column now, in the case of one way shear, your critical section is at a distance of d. Okay, to the either to the right hand side or upward side, or instead of right you can also take at the left, instead of top you can take also take at the bottom, but it is either side. Okay, so at a distance of d, this is the critical section, and this footing will fail. This strip, whatever you are looking over here, this strip will get disconnected from the footing. If I give you name to this A, B, C, D. Now this A, B, C, D, if the excessive load is there and this footing is failed due to one way shear, then this strip A, B, C, D will get disconnected from the footing. Okay, and then footing fail. Similar is the case with this also. If I give some different name, M, N, O, P. Okay, now this is also another strip, you can see over here. Okay, this is also another strip. So due to the excessive load at a distance d, this critical section is there, and due to the one way shear action, if this footing fails, then this strip MNOP will get dislocated from the footing. Okay, and it will get cracked from here, and this footing will get failed. So this type of action is called as one way shear. So the things to be remember is, for one way shear, critical section is at a distance of d. Section is at a distance of d. For what? For this one way shear. And in the case of two way shear, what is the thing? In the case of two way shear, if you see, your critical section is at a distance of d by 2. This two way shear is also called as punching shear. So these are some of the important points. And these two shears are the main forces which causes the failure of the footing. So whatever footing we are going to design, we will design its depth from this two-way shear criteria and one-way shear criteria. If that step depth satisfies this two-way shear and one-way shear criteria, then that depth we are going to provide for this footing. Okay, so this is the most important thing. You can see, remember this, where is the critical section. Okay, and these are the standard values given by IS 456 2000. Okay, these are the critical sections d by 2, then one for one way critical section is at a distance d. All these values are given by the IS code, IS 456 2000. Okay, so now moving forward, now we will take one numerical, and in that numerical now I will tell you how to design the footing. Okay, so we will solve one problem first. So you copy down the problem, I will write here, and then we will solve. Okay, so we will read this first. A square column 500 mm by 500 mm. So the dimensions of the column are given to you. 500 mm by 500 mm. Carries an axial load of 1500 kilonewton. So what is the load carries by the column? This also given to you. It is 1500 kilonewton. Okay. Now what they says further, design a square footing for the column. Okay, so they have already told you in the numerical, design the square footing. So whatever footing we are going to design, it should not be the rectangular footing, it must be square footing. It is given in the problem. The bearing capacity of the soil is 225 kilonewton per meter square. Okay, so this is the bearing capacity. Now you know already what is the soil bearing capacity. And use M20 concrete and Fe415 steel. So this is the given problem. Now we will start to solve it. So I will write here load on column first. Load load on column. The load is given as 1500 kilonewton. Okay. So normally, see initially now we don't know what is the self weight of the footing. Okay, we don't know what is the self weight of the footing. So initially, there is a thumb rule. According to that, what we do, whatever is the load on the column, whatever is the load acting on the column, 10% of that load we take it as a self weight of the footing. Okay, 10% of that load is we take it as a weight of footing. Okay, so I will write over here. Assume weight of footing is is 10% of column load is 10% of column load. Okay, so this is our assumption. We have written over clearly assume. Hmm? Assume weight of footing is 10%. Now, so weight of footing, I will write here. Weight of footing. So 10%. So 10 divided by 100 of 1500. So it is 150 kilonewton. It is 150 kilonewton. Okay. Now see here the load on the column is 1500 kilonewton. So already 1500 kilonewton load is acting on the footing. Plus what is the weight of the footing? Now we have assumed the weight of the footing as 150 kilonewton. Okay. So what is the total load now? The load which is coming from the column plus self weight of the footing. That is nothing but your total load. Okay. So total load is equal to what is the total load now? This is 1500 plus 150. So how much it is? 0561 1650 kilonewton. Okay, so this is the total load. So this is the combination of nothing but the load which is coming from the column plus 10% the self weight of the footing what we have considered. So this is your total load. So after calculating the total load, Now we will calculate area of the footing, required area of the footing. Okay, so how to calculate the area now? So the formula for that is, write down this formula: area of footing is equal to total load divided by safe bearing capacity. Total load divided by safe bearing capacity. Okay, if you do this calculation, you will get the area of the footing. So which is equal to, what is total load? 1650 kilonewton divided by, what is your self bearing capacity? 225. Now solve this, so we will get the value. Let me know the value. Let me know how much it is. 7.33. Okay, so this is 7.33 meter square. Okay, because this load is in kilonewton and this soil bearing capacity is given in kilonewton per meter square. Okay, if you see over here, this is given in kilonewton divided by this is kilonewton per meter square. So this will get cancelled. So 1 divided by 1 upon meter square, you will get this in meter square. Okay. So now this is 7.33 meter square. Now in the numerical they told us, see, in numerical they told us design a square footing. Okay, so we need to design the square footing. So now this is the total area of the footing. 7.33 meter square is the total area of the footing. So what we will do now? So side of the square footing. How do we calculate the side of square footing? So side of square footing, which is equal to, how do we calculate? Under root area. So if you take the root of this, you will get one side. Let me know the answer. 2.707. Okay, 2.707. 2.707 meter. So we will round up this value, and we will round up this value to 2.75 meter. Okay, instead of 2.707, we will round it up to 2.75 meter. So one side of the square footing is 2.75 meter. So another side is, must also, it must be 2.75 meter. So here I can write the dimension. So provide provide 2.75 meter by 2.75 meter size of footing. Okay, so we have fixed the size of our footing now. So the size is 2.75 meter by 2.75 meter. Okay, so now calculate the area of footing provided. Area of footing provided. Now required is 7.33. Now what we have provided, that calculate now. 2.75 into 2.75. How much area we have provided? 7.56. Okay. So the answer is 7.56 meter square. So required is 3.33 and we have provided 7.56 meter square area of the footing. Okay. So initially what we have done, we have taken the load from the column. We assume 10% is the self weight of the footing. So accordingly we have we have calculated the total load. Okay, once we get the total load, we calculate the area of the footing. How do we calculate the area? Total load divided by safe bearing capacity. So we get the area. So whatever area we get, so now it is the square footing. So we know the area, it is 7.33. So we have taken the square root of that. So we got one side, then we round up that side. Okay, and accordingly we calculated the area of footing provided. So up till now we have seen up to this point. So now after this we will calculate what is the net soil pressure intensity. Now see, footing is directly resting on the hard strata, that is, it is resting on the soil. So from soil also there is a pressure which is acting on the footing. So that intensity also required to calculate, stress intensity. So I will write here net upward intensity pressure, net soil upward pressure. This also we need to calculate. The notation for this is sigma, and the formula to calculate this is, the formula is very simple. It is sigma is equal to total load on column. See, total load, whatever I am writing, it is very important. On column, I am saying that total load on column. Okay, I have not told you that only total load. What I have written over here, total load on column. This on column is the most important word. Total load on column divided by area of footing, divided by area of footing. Okay, so therefore this sigma is equal to total load on column. So what was the total load on column? It is 1500. Okay, 1650 is the total load, which is consist of load on column plus self weight of the footing, what we have assumed 10%. Okay, now here the for pressure intensity, the formula is total load on column divided by area of footing. So total load on column is 1500 divided by area of footing is 7.56. To solve it, so we will get the value of this. It is 198.41. Okay, so it is 198.41. Pressure intensity is there, so it is in kilonewton per meter square. Why? Because this total load is in kilonewton. See, this total load is in kilonewton, and this is the area. The unit of area is meter square. So this unit will be kilonewton per meter square. This is the unit. Now this is the net soil upward pressure. So calculate the ultimate soil upward pressure. Ultimate soil upward pressure. So multiply this by 1.5. Upward pressure. So factored pressure we required. So 1.5. This is our factor of safety, multiplied by 198.41. Calculate the answer. 297.62. 297.62 kilonewton per meter square. Kilonewton per meter square. Okay. So this is the, now here completes your first step. Okay. Calculation of upward soil pressure. Up to this point, your first step is completed. Okay. Now what we have done, from the load of column, we have assumed 10% weight of footing. Then from total load we have calculated the area of the footing. Okay, then we provide some area by rounding up the dimensions. We have provided some area of the footing which is excess than required area. After that we have calculated net soil pressure on the footing, and the formula for that I have already written on the board. Okay, So after calculation of net soil pressure, we have calculated ultimate soil pressure. Okay, or it is called as factored soil pressure. And to calculate ultimate or factored soil pressure, factor of safety is 1.5. We always take 1.5 for concrete. That is why. So ultimate soil pressure is 1.5 into 198. So it is 297.62. So here your first step is completed. Now the second is depth of the footing. Okay. Now second thing is depth of the footing. See, now the footing always fails due to punching shear, that is two-way shear and one-way shear. So the normal design procedure, if you go through the book, so in a book the normal design procedure is from the loading you calculate the bending moment, and after calculation of the bending moment you check that depth to two-way shear, and you check the same depth for one-way shear, and if for both the shears the depth is safe, then your footing is safe. This is the normal procedure which is given in the book. But here what we are going to do, now while calculating the depth, we will do one thing. We calculate the depth itself by using the criteria of one-way shear and two-way shear, so that whatever the value of the depth we get from there, that depth is always, what we can say, safe depth. Okay, for that depth your footing will not fail. Now how to do that, let us see over here. So first, depth of the footing. So in that, first point is depth from depth from two-way shear consideration. Depth from two-way shear consideration, or it is also called as punching shear consideration. Okay. So now again I will draw the diagram. First we will draw over here the column. So our column is the square column. I will write the dimension of the column 500 mm by 500 mm. So it is 0.5 meter by 0.5 meter. Okay, 0.5 meter by 0.5 meter. This is your column. Then after that we will draw the footing. So this is the footing. And what are the dimension of the footing? We have already calculated. This side is 2.75 meter and this side is also 2.75 meter. These are the dimensions of the footing. Now if you see, we are looking for two-way shear criteria, two-way shear. Okay, so that is the punching shear. So where is the critical section for punching shear? So I will write critical section is at a distance of d by 2 from from face of the column. Now see where is the column. From the face of the column your critical section is at a distance of d by 2 from the face of the column. So now I will draw the critical section. So first I will draw the rectangle so that it will be easier for us. Okay, here. So now this is our critical section which is at a distance of d by 2. Okay, so this is d by 2. and this side also it is d by 2. At top also it is d by 2. At bottom also it is d by 2. Okay. At top is d by 2. At bottom also it is d by 2. Okay. This is also d by. So now if I calculate this length, if I want to calculate this length, see here which length I am talking about. Now this is 0.5. If I want this length, what is the dimension of this? What will be the dimension of this? So this is comprises of this 0.5 plus d by 2 plus d by 2. We don't know what is the value of d. D is nothing but depth of the footing. Okay, still we don't know what is the value of d. To calculate the value of d, all these things we are doing. Okay, so if I write over here this dimension, then this is, if this is zero point 0.5, then this is 0.5 plus d. Okay, it is 0.5 plus d up to this point. Same is the case here also. Okay, same is the case here also. If I write, it is 0.5 plus d. How it comes d? So d by 2 at the top, d by 2 at the bottom. So this dimension is also 0.5 plus d, 0.5 plus d. Okay. Now see here what we are going to do. See, now this is our footing, this is column, and this is the critical section. Okay. Now let us assume that tau v is the nominal shear stress. Okay, you know that tau v is the, we use the tau v notation for shear stress, nominal shear stress, and tau c is the permissible shear stress. So tau v is the shear stress which is actually produced in that member, and tau c is the shear stress which is specified by the IS code, which is the permissible stress. So your tau v must be always less than tau c. So to brush up the things, I will write here tau v. Tau v is the nominal shear stress. Okay, and tau c. What is tau c? Tau c is the permissible shear stress. Permissible shear stress. So you have already studied this. Your tau v must be always less than or equal to tau c. Okay, your tau v must be always less than or equal to tau c. This is the condition. Always, if your tau v, your nominal shear stress is increased, that is the shear stress in this column, footing, junction, or in this member is increased, then you need to provide the stirrups. You need to provide the shear reinforcement. But especially in the case of slabs, in the case of footings, we generally uh, avoid to provide the stirrups. Okay, so here our criteria is whatever the shear stress is developing over here, that shear stress should be less than or equal to permissible shear stress. This permissible shear stress is specified by the IS code. Okay, and that permissible shear stress tau c, the formula to calculate the permissible shear stress, it is given as 0.25 under root fck. This formula is given by the IS code. Okay, so to calculate the tau c it can be calculated as 0.25 under root FCK. This is the formula given by IS 456 2000. Okay, so these are the things today we have seen. So the next part we will cover in the next lecture. So for today, you do one thing. Once again, go through all the steps which we have done today only in today's lecture, and so that in the next lecture it will be easier for you to understand how this two-way share depth is calculated from two-way share consideration, and how to calculate the depth from one-way share consideration. Okay. So now today we will stop over here.